While many people are getting ready to slow down and take it easy for the upcoming 4th of July holiday weekend, there are no signs of any time off in the crypto industry. And joining me is our friend, Atlanta-based crypto analyst, NYU professor, and Rubicon Digital Assets CEO, Greg Johnson, to share more of his insights into the world of crypto. I always learn so much when we speak with you, so we're so happy that you were here, Greg. And I understand that there are some major new developments that involve the crypto industry and mainstream banking services like mortgages and ATMs. What do consumers need to know right now?
They need to know a lot, Faith, and as always, it's really good to be with you and to be talking about these issues. You know, if I think about the last few segments that you and I have done together, we've talked about the normalization that was taking place since the Trump administration came to power for the crypto industry. And that's been showing up in lots of different places. But for consumers, more so than ever, normal is becoming crypto. So, for example, you mentioned mortgages. And for the longest time, if you had crypto assets, you wanted to use them for collateral or for your credit rating when applying for a mortgage, you couldn't use those crypto holdings. And for many of these early investors in crypto, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of value that they couldn't use if, in fact, they wanted to apply for a mortgage. Well, recently, there was guidance from the Federal Housing Finance Agency telling our friends at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are the largest mortgage underwriter, that they needed to stop discriminating against crypto assets and that they could be used as consideration for determining credit and for assets. And so it's a really, really big example of normalization taking place in the crypto industry. You mentioned ATMs. Now, this is not a new story, but it's a story that continues to thicken, and it's a story that continues to have implications here in the United States and indeed here in Georgia. And that's the subject of crypto ATMs. Now, there's nothing wrong with a crypto or Bitcoin ATM in principle. The problem is bad actors, bad criminal entities are taking advantage of lots of folks and using crypto ATMs as the mechanism. It takes place a couple of different ways. One is the normal type of crypto kind of social experimentation takes place, and you are led to believe that somebody desperately needs you to put money into a crypto ATM and to send it to them for some type of an event to take place. I don't care if it's law enforcement, the state of Georgia, the US federal government, no one is going to require any citizen to go to a crypto ATM to put their cash in there and have it lost to scammers. And Faith, the other way that crypto ATMs are becoming a real cash driver, no pun intended, for all of these criminals, is the same way you may have heard advice not to charge your phone or computer in public settings, like at the airport or elsewhere. Well, the same cybersecurity risk can often exist in these ATMs. So it's a big story. And this year, we've already seen a spike in the amount of fraud taking place at crypto ATMs in the United States, already exceeding all levels in 2024.
Let's switch gears here. And what can you tell us about the role that cryptocurrency may have played during the recent conflict in Iran that we saw?
I know it sounds crazy talking about crypto and mortgages and ATMs, but the reality is crypto is having a seat at the table in geopolitics as well, Faith. And you probably are aware that there are several nation states that the rest of the world considers to be bad actors that have been sponsoring crypto hackers. North Korea, Iran are two that always come to mind. Iran has had a long history of using its very talented engineers. They're a very sophisticated cryptography culture in Iran. And for a long time, Iran has been one of the leading countries using crypto scams and hacks as a way to bring money in to circumvent all of the sanctions and also to pay for many of the terrorist activities that they've been accused of being sponsors of. Well, turnabout is fair play. During the recent conflict between Israel and Iran, and of course the United States entering as well, we saw about 4 days ago a massive $90 million hack of the largest crypto exchange in Iran by Israeli hackers that used the same crypto hacking techniques to take 90 million worth of crypto away from that Iranian exchange. Why does that matter? It matters a great deal when you're in an emergency situation and your economy is under sanctions and you're shut down. That's a lot of money to have taken right out from under your nose.
It wouldn't be a segment unless we asked you about things going up in Washington, D.C. So from the foreign conflicts, bringing it back home, what is the latest on crypto up in Capitol Hill?
Well, there's three things that I'd probably tell you that affect our viewers here in the state of Georgia. The first of those, we've been talking about this here at 11 Alive for a while, but last week the Senate actually passed that Genius Act concerning stablecoins. And this will have a trickle-down impact on just about every business here in the state of Georgia over the next 5 years. It has to clear the House, but it looks as though that is going to be signed into law, and it would be the first federal law ever having to do with the crypto industry as a whole. The other thing that's happening, Faith, and I mean, I know this sounds hard to even imagine and believe, but the Republicans and the Democrats, they have not been getting along as of late. You may have heard this. And the Democrats more and more are finding that the only leverage they seem to have in the current state of affairs in Washington is perhaps trying to stall and derail crypto legislation, like that Genius Act. Now, it made it through the Senate, but there's also another major piece of legislation called the Clarity Act, which has to do with all the other regulations surrounding these crypto investments. And they're using this legislation as a last stand, if you will, to try and put the brakes on what they see is a Trump administration without any rails. And that's been taking place, and I don't see any sign of that slowing down. Faith, the last thing I would say with all of these headlines, this never-ending slew of headlines, is I want investors locally here to remember, if they're investing in crypto or not, even if you don't own crypto, you may own crypto because of all of these changes in Washington, D.C., because companies are getting involved and you may not be aware of it.
There you go. And we know now because of you, Greg Johnson, the CEO of Rubicon Digital Assets. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and expertise with us. We truly appreciate it.
Always welcome, Faith. Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. See you later.